Ever get that, like, visceral dislike for someone? Like, it almost clouds your judgment a little.
It's kind of like that Trump derangement syndrome idea people toss around.
Yeah.
Not about Trump himself necessarily, but how emotions can really mess with our thinking. So today, we're using that Trump derangement syndrome thing as a jumping off point
Interesting.
to dive into how feelings, especially super strong ones, can make it hard to, think straight,
Right.
especially about important stuff like, oh, I don't know, voting,
Makes sense.
big decisions, right?
Huge.
So, Trump derangement syndrome, where do we even start with this? We found this document just straight up called Trump Derangement Syndrome,
Okay.
and it basically says some folks oppose Trump not from logic, but from, well, derangement.
Interesting.
It even brings up this philosopher Rudolf Steiner and his thing about rational autonomy,
Oh, yeah.
saying like voting purely out of fear or hatred towards Trump kind of goes against Steiner's whole philosophy.
So Steiner believed that clear, conscious thinking was the bedrock of freedom.
Okay.
He thought that by thinking clearly, free from outside pressure, people could really govern themselves.
Right.
Make choices that match their values.
So you're saying for Steiner, just blindly voting against something, even if it's from like a gut feeling, might be less free than actually considering everything.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating concept.
It really is.
And this document ties it to Trump Derangement Syndrome, suggesting that if emotions are driving the decision, then that rational, self-determined thought that Steiner valued might not be there.
Wow. Okay, so this document also mentions unconscious biases, which feels huge here. Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. Think of unconscious biases as these mental shortcuts our brains make based on our experiences.
Okay.
They can influence our decisions,
Right.
even big ones like voting,
Right.
without us even realizing it.
Oh, wow.
Think about how, say, a negative news story might change how you see a candidate, even if it has nothing to do with their actual policies.
Right, right. Like we think we're being all logical, but these biases are running the show. And this goes way beyond politics. Right?
Exactly. This affects everything, who we're friends with, what we buy.
Everything.
It's everywhere, and it can really mess with our choices if we aren't careful.
So it's not really about Trump or any one syndrome, but about us looking inward a bit, right? Have you ever noticed yourself having a strong reaction to a politician or a news story, and maybe later you're like, whoa, emotions got the best of me there?
All the time.
It's kind of a weird feeling when you realize it.
It really is, and it leads to a really important question. How can we be more aware of these biases and strive for more rational decision-making in all parts of our lives?
It's something to think about.
It really is.
Thanks for diving into this with me.
Of course. Always happy to.